Hello again, sweet darlings. As I continue on this journey from being a feminist to a feminine wife, I am amazed at how often I realize that I really don't have things figured out yet. Perhaps this is just God's way of helping us improve. He doesn't hit us in the face with all of our bad habits at once, but instead allows us to painfully work to eliminate each one in turn before revealing to us where we need to work next. When I look back at who I was even last year, I know that I have changed a lot. My heart today is full of so much more joy. But in the hard moments, my mind still wanders and I am drawn right back to the mindset of my 20s. Ego, selfishness, cowardice, and fear. And these are mental states, which I need to work on, and I've been doing so slowly. I want to share with you today 4 more tips to help you become a feminine wife. Habits of the mind that I'm still working on. Of course, what we do and how we treat our husbands matters a lot. But if our mind and emotions aren't somewhat in check, real life can quickly get swept aside by this torrent of feelings. The first tip is learning to recognize when you're starting a negative mental spiral and quickly change tact when you can. I used to spend a lot of time mulling over comments my husband made or how I felt things were just plain unfair. However, ultimately I knew that I was not only super lucky, I also wasn't perfect myself. So I started stopping these thoughts. I prayed each time those feelings of resentment came to me, "Please, Lord, take this feeling from my heart." And I reminded myself in each of those moments that I have an amazing life because this man loves me. The second mental habit of a feminine wife is being accountable for your domain, or holding yourself accountable, I should say, for what you're in charge of in your home. The house becomes a home when a woman owns that space. She pours her heart and love into all of the space and the chores and the dishes and the folding of underwear. Beyond this, she's creative and looks for new ways to bring joy and fun to her family. A new game, a movie, an atmosphere where they can relax and enjoy one another's company. I have recently come across a lot of content that focuses on how the home reflects the woman, and this was a real wake-up call for me. My house is not untidy because my husband likes to leave his clothes on the floor or because he prefers to keep things in open baskets. My house is untidy because I don't have a decent cleaning schedule, and I haven't come up with a place to keep his work clothes or his unfinished DIY projects. Knowing that I can decide to make things better in my house anytime I choose is empowering, and I'm excited to use this next year to transform some corners of my home and make them work for my family going forward. The third tip is learning to focus on your own tasks or behavior in a given situation, not worrying about what your husband or your children or your friends are doing, for example. Ask yourself, are you being the most patient version of yourself? Is your emotional state having a negative impact on those around you? It's so easy to get into the habit where you're constantly focused on what other people are doing or what they are not doing that you think they should be. I found that a good way to start to approach changing this habit is thinking in statements about you. Instead of, "He never helps me with the housework," try, "I'm feeling overwhelmed and I really miss him when he isn't here." So often our frustration bubbles to the surface, and we're encouraged by society to just let it all out and go into attack mode, to say exactly what we feel without any concern for how this might make our partner or our friend or our children feel. Asking for help in a nice way and recognizing why you feel overwhelmed or lonely or frustrated might help you and your husband have a more productive discussion about what improvements are needed and how he can better serve you. The fourth tip is learning to identify the mental baggage that you're bringing into your marriage from your parents' marriage or their relationship. Obviously, if your parents were separated or got divorced, then you might be struggling with trusting your partner or have a very pessimistic outlook on marriage generally. But even those of us who had parents that stayed together will find that we picked up a lot of negative habits based on how they handled conflict or tension in their marriage. I saw my parents argue a lot before my father passed away when I was 14, and in so many of those conversations, my mum threatened divorce, my dad drove off by himself for the rest of the day, and I didn't see many examples of apologizing. I'm sure that they happened, but I recognize in myself now that when I have conflict with my husband, my instinct is to get defensive and run away. I don't want to admit I've been wrong, and I'm afraid of doing so. None of this is to lay blame with my parents. I had a very happy childhood on the whole, and I never doubted that they loved me. But just like me, they weren't perfect, and I'm still unlearning some of those habits I saw as a child that are not serving my marriage today. I hope that these 4 tips for changing your mindset in your journey to become a more feminine wife has helped you today. Please do leave your tips for all of us below as well, and any questions or comments for me about this topic, because it's so lovely to hear from you. As ever, thank you all so much for watching this video and spending some of your day here with me. I hope to see you all here again soon for the next one, but in the meantime, take good care everybody, and God bless.